Tonight, Jewish Congregation Ner Tamid hosted a Passover seder in Las Vegas. Temple officials saying prayer was centered around the release of Israeli hostages. Hundreds gathered for the Passover seder, a major holiday celebrating the exodus of Israelites from slavery in biblical Egypt. Members also celebrated the temple's 50th anniversary. The seder included a short service followed by a traditional meal. According to Rabbi Askarad, this year is different because of the Israeli hostages taken by Hamas, but he encourages prayer for every group involved in the war.
Passover is also a holiday of sensitivity. So even though there's that famous biblical story where the Jews crossed the Red Sea and they sing with joy, God says, don't celebrate the death of the Egyptians. They were my people too. So we do feel that sense of empathy for the Palestinians. We feel that sense of empathy for the Israelis, everybody who is going through this awful war, and we pray for peace.